Are you looking for elegant rustic Christmas decor on a Dollar Tree budget? Today I am sharing two stunning woodland wreaths and a cozy cabin shelf sitter that looks high-end, but costs just a few dollars to make. Today's video is part of day 3 of the 12 days of Christmas. Hi, I'm Loli, and I'm so glad you are here. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get started. For this project, I'll be using this stick that I got from my yard. I'm just going to go ahead and trim off any pieces that are over here frayed, or what do you call this? Splintered? Yes, splintered. Then I'm going to take this garland of pine cones that I got from Dollar Tree. It already comes wired as you see it there. I'm just going to wrap 3 pieces onto the stick, one on each end and one in the middle. And here I'm making sure that my pine cones are in different levels. So here you'll see how I wrapped it with the pine cone, like pretty much underneath of the stick. Then I cut that once I got the 3 pine cones down, I cut it off there. And then I attached the other 2. If you see here, the one to the other side has a pine cone on top of that stick. And the middle one has it going down a little bit further down. I wanted these to have different levels, so I'm doing that. And for the last one, I did 4 pine cones. Then I'm going to take these beautiful owls that I got from Dollar Tree. My husband loves owls, and I found one that was white and one that was colored. So I'm like, a white one is Joey since he's white. And this one is me. So I thought, this was fate. He loves owls, and we had one of each. And we are lovebirds, so there you go. I'm going to go ahead and position them right here in the middle together. But there was some issues with it. This one had balls hanging down. Look at that. Look at that. They were just dangling there. Why? I don't know. Dollar Tree? I don't know. Explain to me what's up with that. So I go ahead and I didn't realize that you can just pull him out. I was thinking I need to cut him off, but I just pulled him right out, and it was like a plastic needle. And I reposition it in a different area, making sure to go in between the little holes of the burlap that it has on the side. And I did the same thing with the other one also. That is just so the bottom of my owl is nice and flat, so I'm able to glue it onto my stick. And I did the same rearrangement with the other owl as well, even though that one didn't have the balls low down like the other ones did. So here I'm adding a generous amount of hot glue in the portion that the butt of my owl will hit, and it came out nice and straight that way. Then I measured where the other owl would have been as well, touching that piece of that stick, and I angle it there so they're both like leaning against each other. I held it there until it dried, and then here I came in with a little bit of hot glue in between here on the sides so they will stay stuck together like this. Cuddling, look how cute. Now I took some of these spine pieces from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use one on each side of the owls. But I'm going to go ahead and cut off that wire section at the bottom. And I'm going to place these exactly where I want to put them. Once I'm happy with the placement here, I'm just going to go ahead and add some hot glue right here, like almost underneath of the owl here. And then press it down. And I wanted that felt to be on top of the piece. I didn't want the glue to be on the felt. And I did that with both sides. Here I already was happy with where this was placed. So I just lifted it very carefully, added my hot glue underneath, pressed it down, and held it there until it dried. The stick on this side, it was sticking out further than the other piece, and I love symmetry. So I took my wire cutters and I'm just snipping all around the entire piece there, trying to do it even. I'm just biting down and cutting pieces of that wood all the way around until I softened it up, or I weakened it enough that I was just able to just snap it right off. And it was a nice clean cut. Now this is much better for me. But this was looking a little bit bare for me, so I decided to come in with some of these pine cones from Dollar Tree. They are plastic and they're like a champagne color. And actually, is this Dollar Tree? Yes, I think it's Dollar Tree. I got him some years back. So I just removed that little twisty tie that comes in the back of it, and I wrapped a piece of wire that was in between each one of those white or those flocked
pine cones to just create a little bit of a fuller garland going down. And then here, come to find out, oh my gosh, I could have just pulled out the piece instead of having to take every little twisty out. So the bottom of these is actually a little eye hook that you can screw at the bottom so you can just pull it out. So go ahead and do that instead of going the long way like I did. So once I figured that out, I did that and I added a pine cone in between each one, in between every two of the flocked ones to give this a fuller look. And this one had 4, added more. So then we needed a hanger for this beautiful thing. So what I did is I took a wire from the same garland with the pine cone that I had remained in and make sure that the pine cone was in the middle of the wire. And then I tied each side of the wire on the side of the stick, making sure that the length was equal on both sides because I want to make sure that that pine cone will be at the center right above them. And look at this. This turned out so, so cute. Please let me know in the comment section what you think about this project. Friend, today's day 3 after 12 days of Christmas. And this collaboration is being hosted by Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY and Jackie from Crafting in Mimi's World. The links to their channels and to their playlists will be linked in the description box below and also put in the comments. Make sure to head on over to the channels, the playlists, and show everyone some love. For this project, I'll be using this ornament that I got from Dollar Tree. I'm not going to need the hanger, so I'm going to remove that off. Then we're going to take this little house-shaped piece from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to take my antiques wax from Waverly and just give it a nice rubbing with it, just to darken up that background. I started off pretty lightly, and I just kept building slowly until I got a nice warm tone that wasn't as dark, but at the same time wasn't as light. But you know what I mean. It was in the middle, I guess. Anyway, I just darkened it. I will say about maybe a shade more. And I had it at different places here and there that were a little bit darker just to bring out that beautiful wood grain that this piece has. And look how cute that's turning out. How cute, cute, cute. Now we're going to take some hot glue, put it in the back of our ornament here, and position it at the center of this piece. My friend, if you would do me a favor and let me know in the comment section where you're watching from, I love to know how far my videos are reaching. I thank you in advance for that. All right, so next we're gonna go ahead and take this pick that I got some years back from Walmart for 98 cents. Look how beautiful that is, and it was just 98 cents. Even the feel is very realistic. All right, so here I'm gonna cut a couple pieces of them. And I'm trying to leave just a minimal amount of that stem in the bottom because I'm going to make this our little roof. What do you think about this? Isn't this a cute idea? Anyway, I thought it will give it like a beautiful cabin feel that's like super nestled in there. All right, so that's the way my brain went with that one. But anyway, I took some hot glue, added it to the corner there, and I'm going to place that stem on it, the ridge, like the area, that middle piece, the skeleton of it. What do you call it? The spine? I will call it the spine. For now, we place the spine of that greenery onto that hot glue, and we're going to repeat the same thing with the other side as well. Then I took another piece of the greenery, and I'm going to position it on top of each one of these as well, just staggering them up, making sure that the greenery will completely cover all those brown areas you can see. Once I was happy with the placement, I added hot glue on the spine of the pick and position it in my desired area. And the same thing that I did here, I'm going to do with the other side. And by the time I'm done with this, you will not be able to see any of that brown area at the ridge of the house. I know it's looking crazy, but trust it, trust the process, trust the process. I'm taking here smaller pieces of the greenery, and I'm going to position it here towards the front of this. So once I know exactly where I want it, I'm going to add the smallest amount of hot glue closest to the greenery at the top and position the greenery right there. And I continue to do this until the front of my little rustic cabin. It's got cabin, guys. Very nice. Cozy. I'm feeling silly today. Anyway, we're going to keep adding there. You see there, I cut another piece from the same pick. I'm doing the wispy little edges of it, and I just keep building it and building it until I had the top fully covered. And I was thinking here, this looks like it needs a haircut. It looks like a guy that hasn't had a haircut is starting to look like a scarecrow. All right, so trust the process, okay? I looked at it, I assessed the situation, and I ended up, taking some pieces off just to tame this down so it looks a little bit neater, but at the same time, natural. So I just clipped a few down in a position in which they will look natural at the edges once I cut them. And then I took those little pieces and added them in any places at the top that look a bit scanty. And we are not wasting any craft supplies here at Lolly D's Creations. You just cannot do it. So I just added those to the top there, being very careful not to smear the hot glue so you don't see it at the top. And then I kept adding those extra pieces here on the sides also to give this a nice finished look. And I absolutely love, 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 love how this turned out. However, I'm not done yet. I thought I needed a little bit more on the sides here. So I'm cutting other pieces of the same pine here, and I'm going to fill in these corners. Just the symmetry. The symmetry wasn't symmetrying with me. So I'm like, you know what, we need a little bit more over here. So I added another piece of the greenery right here in the corner, just so everything flows nicely, so it has balance, so it has, I don't know how to explain it. It was just bothering me. It just seemed a little bit scanty on the sides there. So this is my solution for that problem I was having. Then I did the same thing on the other side, and that is it for this project. Let me know in the comment section what do you think about this one. For this one, I used another wreath that I got from the same grab box at Michael's, and it was pretty, but there was a pine cone missing, but it was perfect because it served as a perfect place for me to put a pretty little embellishment. And here at the bottom here also, there was a piece of pine that was a little bit lopsided. I guess once they stuffed it into the box, it probably just broke off, but nothing that a little bit of hot glue could not fix. And now it's time to add this beautiful owl. I got this from Dollar Tree. I just cut off the jute cord from the very top of it, added some hot glue to the bottom and the back, and placed it right there in that place in which a pine cone had fallen off. And this was the perfect little nest for this guy. Here I'm just taking all the hair off his face so you can see the beautiful eyes and that little beak. Then I'm taking some of this buffalo check ribbon from Michael's that also came from the same grab bag, and I'm just adding a piece that will be big enough or long enough to be a nice hanger for this. Then I'm taking one of these rings from Dollar Tree and painting it with my full color black paint. Then I'm going to thread it onto that same ribbon, and I'm going to glue the ribbon in place. And I started by gluing this piece as you see right here, but it's going to go through the ribbon and make a ugly little stain, which I do not like. That's why I made the ribbon a little bit longer. So once that part right there is nicely glued, I'm able to fold this napkin one more time over itself to hide that and have a nice seamless glued area, if that makes any sense. So here you see how I take the ribbon and I fold it on itself now, and this is going to create a nice little fold, give the ribbon the height that I want for the hanger, and at the same time it's thick enough that the glue will not go through and it will look nice and neat. Here there was a little bit that was still missing to be united together. Added a little bit of hot glue, placed it down, but making sure to just add a little bit so it doesn't seep out. And that is it for this one. It came out so pretty. You can see the prettiness as much in camera as you see it in real life. With all that sparkle, it is beautiful. And apparently here I had a little bit more opening still. I just want to make sure that was secure, so I added a little bit more hot glue. But again, making sure not to put too much. And now we are done.
My friend, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be blessed, be a blessing, and craft responsibly. And if you enjoyed today's content, here is some more videos you are sure to enjoy. Thank you again so much for watching. You're amazing. Bye.